Hello and welcome to this tutorial on creating an endless runner game, just like you can see here. Whoa, that P came pretty fast. That's hard to avoid. Now, with this one, we're going to create something like this where you can jump over things and duck under things. And yeah, if they come too fast, the game will end. Now, one of the most famous endless runner games is, of course, the Running Dino game by Google. And if you're using a Chrome browser, you can get to that by typing Chrome://Dino. And when you do that, you press the space bar and you are up and running. Now, notice the backgrounds. We've got some clouds there that are moving along, and notice they're moving at a slower pace than the cactuses and the foreground that I'm running on. And this gives the perception of depth. Those clouds look further away. And so that's what we're going to focus on first, creating this perception of depth by creating some scrolling backgrounds. So how do we create those scrolling backgrounds? Well, let's imagine that this black box here is our game canvas. This is what we're going to draw on. Now, I've drawn a background here with some clouds. Now, the problem here is that if I just move these clouds, notice that we suddenly have this white space here. So we can't just have an image that's the size of our game canvas. We need an image that's bigger. So what we're going to do is, in fact, duplicate this part of the image and add it to the right-hand side, like that. And then in our program, if we actually move the position of our image left, it looks as though those clouds are scrolling across. And when we get to the end of our image, because we duplicated it, this now is an exact copy of this first part. So if we just move the image back to the start, it would look as though it hasn't changed. And it actually hasn't. This is the same image. So we can scroll across, and when we get to this point, move our image back and keep scrolling across. And then using code, we can make that happen so smoothly that you won't even notice it. It will just keep animating, and it looks like if you're just focusing on this window only here, it looks as though the clouds are just continuously scrolling with no break in the program at all. And that's how we achieve that infinite scrolling. So let's get to it. I've actually created an image here with my clouds, and then what I did was I duplicated these and created an exact copy of these. So it looks like this. And so this is the image I'm going to use to create that scrolling background effect. So let's get to it. Here's my endless runner game. That background, we're going to create it as a sprite, so it makes it easy for us to move it. So I'm going to import the sprite library first using the from sprite import star command. So I get all the functionality from the sprite library. Now I need to upload my image. So select the file. I called it distant background. So now that's been uploaded. So now I can create a sprite with that. And I might call my sprite, let's call it distant background. And that equals a sprite. And here I need to put in the image name. Copy that in, distant background.png. And I want it to appear at the top left hand corner of the screen. And now this image that I created, it's actually 1000 pixels wide to here and 300 high. So when I duplicated it, it was 2000 pixels wide. But that means for this to fit in my game screen nicely, I needed 1000 wide and 300 high. So I'm going to set my canvas size to be that size, 1000 pixels by 300. And now I should be able to just draw distant background.draw, and hopefully now, let's test it. We should always test our program regularly. Yeah, there's my sky. Beautiful. Now we need to animate it, so we need to move it to the left. So we need an animation loop. So let's do that. So while true gives me my animation loop, and then at the bottom of this, I'm just going to sleep for 5/1000th of a second, and yeah, this should be now drawn in here. So now this shouldn't have changed anything, but it's now animating, so my program's still running. So I'll stop it. And now what I can do is I can just move my background to the left. Now the move by command, if you remember, it moves our sprite. The first parameter is how much to move in the x direction by. So we might go -1. That moves it to the left. And the y, I don't want it to move up or down, so 0. So now, start. Hey, hey! Look at that scrolling background. That's brilliant. Oh, but we have a problem here, don't we? Does not look like it. Yeah, we haven't reset our image back to the start, which is what we need to do. So let's do that. Let's check. So if our distant background dot x position, if that is less than, well, it's really, if it's less than the width of the screen, well, I'm just going to put it's less than -1000 because I'm starting. Let's have a look back at this example here. I'm starting it at 0, 0, and then I'm moving it so to -1, and by the time I get to here, this is 1000 pixels to the left. So this is -1000. So by the time I get to -1000, if it's less than or equal to that, then I want to set the distant background. Well, I can just move, I can use the move to command to move it all back to 0, 0. So move it back to the start where I started, and then I should have my infinite scrolling. Now, the other thing I want to do is, instead of hard coding -1 here, I'm going to give it a speed. So I'm going to say distant, and I might put it in capitals. So yeah, distant background speed equals, and let's make it fast just so I can do it -10. Distant background speed. So this now, this variable holds -10, and I put it as a capital because that is a convention to show that it's a constant, it's not going to change. And so if I run this now, we should see, oh, I've got an error here. One required argument on line 9. Oh no, I accidentally deleted my code somehow. Wonder if you saw that. So I need the distant background 0 and 0. Okay, now we should be good. Not sure what I did there. Whoa, yeah. So now look at it. It's scrolling. I mean, this is way too fast, but you can see it's infinitely scrolling. And the beauty about using this constant thing is now I can just set it back to -1 and stop and start. And now it'll move at a nice slow speed. Now that is great. Now, the thing we need to do next is draw our floor, because if you look at the Chrome game, yeah, the floor is moving, so I need that to move. And also, if you looked at our example here, you see that the floor is also moving. So we need to now do the same thing. So your task here is to implement this scrolling background. Gee, it looks good. And then create a second image that is like only 50 pixels high and 1000 pixels wide. Then duplicate it so it's 2000 wide, and then have it scrolling. But you'll have the foreground scrolling faster to give that perception of depth. So good luck with that task, and if you have any questions, you can leave a comment on the site, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching.